The old man is finally gone. He lived a long life. But what was the point of it all? Now you can cash in his life insurance, right? Said my husband, Kyle. At least I'll finally get some compensation for marrying you. How much is it? Don't even think I'm wasting my time on some broke country funeral. His words weren't comforting. They were insults aimed at me and my dad. At the funeral, he made it worse. Here's my contribution to the cause, he sneered. Clink, clink. He tossed some coins from his pocket onto the table and laughed mockingly. I stared at him, searching for the kind man I once fell in love with, the one who gave me a silver coin and a little hope. But that man was long gone. How did it come to this? My vision blurred with tears of anger and sorrow. Then, out of nowhere, a man appeared. His presence marked the beginning of what would change everything. I was 35, working at a candy factory. Kyle and I had met years earlier when we worked at the same place. Back then, I was fresh out of college and struggling with my new job. I couldn't seem to get anything right. Everyone else seemed to know what they were doing, but I kept messing up. I thought it was just little mistakes at first, but it kept happening. Since we worked alone, no one helped me and I had no idea how to fix things. Every time I failed, my team had to pick up the slack. Their frustration felt like a heavy weight, and it was crushing me. One day, I couldn't take it anymore. I hid in the break room, crying. That's when Kyle walked in. "What's wrong?" "Want to talk about it?" he asked. Through my tears, I told him about my mistakes. "Thanks for listening," I said, embarrassed. "I messed up again today." Kyle was 2 years older than me and had been working there for a while. He listened patiently and even made me laugh a little. "Don't worry so much," he said with a smile. Then he pulled a coin out of his wallet. "This is a lucky silver coin from 1944. Keep it. Maybe it'll bring you some luck." I promised to hold on to it forever. I was touched by his kindness. After that, I couldn't stop thinking about him. With a little help from a coworker, we got closer, started dating, and eventually got married. I thought I'd found my happily ever after. But my dad, Henry, didn't think so. He was a quiet man who spent most of his life tending to the family farm. When I told him about Kyle, he didn't hide his feelings. "I think you're rushing into this," he said. "Kyle seems nice, but I don't trust him. You should wait and get to know him better." "Wait?" I snapped. "You don't even know him. Why now, of all times, do you want to act like a father? I'm an adult. I don't need your advice." I was so angry that I said things I shouldn't have. After that, my dad never brought it up again. Ignoring his warning, I married Kyle and left home. "It's fine," I told myself. "I have Kyle. I'm happy." But deep down, I knew it wasn't true. Not long after we got married, my ex-husband, Kyle, started showing his true colors. "Where's my dinner? Didn't I tell you to clean the house? I can't live in this kind of mess. It's embarrassing. I need this outfit for tomorrow. Iron it. And don't forget to polish my shoes while you're at it." He treated me like a servant, but I still tried my best to keep up with both work and household chores. I learned to do everything perfectly, hoping to avoid his criticism. But instead of appreciating my efforts, he acted like it was nothing. "Wow, you want a pat on the back for doing what a wife's supposed to do," he mocked. "If anything, you should be thanking me for working so hard to support you." When he got promoted to manager, his arrogance only grew worse. "Your ideas at work are so lame and outdated. You still smell like the countryside. Everything about you screams farm girl." Kyle's insults didn't stop with me. He looked down on my family too. I tried to hold it together, but his behavior was wearing me down. One day, I made a white stew using fresh milk from my family's farm. "Ew, what's that awful smell? It's rancid." "I'm not eating this garbage," Kyle sneered. I tried to keep calm, but then he walked over to the pot. "Before this stinks up the house, I'm throwing it out. I feel like I'm in prison eating slop like this." He dumped the entire stew into the trash. "How dare you throw away food I worked so hard to make?" I yelled. "You're unbelievable." Kyle just laughed. "Blah, blah, blah. You're so boring and pathetic. You're nothing but dead weight." Then he finally admitted the truth. "You want to know why I married you? I figured a desperate 35-year-old woman like you would have saved up a lot of money. I thought it was a good deal. You were lonely, and I'd get the cash." I stared at him stunned. It hit me. His reluctance to marry me right away wasn't caution. It was a scheme to drain my savings. But my savings are almost gone now, thanks to your spending. I shot back. Not my problem, he said with a smirk. A broke wife is useless to me. You're not even as valuable as livestock on your dad's farm. Then he grabbed my sketchbook, the one I used to dream of designing beautiful pastries, and tore it to shreds. Pathetic, he muttered before walking out the door. The next day, we finalized our divorce. I packed my things and left. As I walked away, my dad's face flashed in my mind. He had been right about Kyle from the start. I'm sorry, Dad, I whispered, tears streaming down my face. But I couldn't bring myself to face him yet. With what little savings I had left, I found a small apartment and tried to rebuild my life. It was tough, but one day, I came across a job posting at a bakery. Becoming a patissier had always been my dream, and maybe this was my second chance to make it come true. I might have been older than most people starting a new career, but I knew one thing: you never know what you can achieve until you try. Starting fresh at a manufacturing job taught me new skills and helped me rebuild my confidence. Once I started feeling like myself again, I made a decision. I would visit my dad, tell him about my divorce, and share my plans for my new career. But before I could act, I got a call from my mom late one night. She was crying. Your dad passed away in the hospital today, she said through sobs. Please come home. The memorial service is the day after tomorrow. Her words left me numb. I packed my things and drove to the ranch as fast as I could. When I arrived, I saw him lying peacefully in the casket. It was too late. I was too late. Seeing my dad like that broke something inside me. I never got to tell you I'm sorry, Dad, I whispered through tears. I didn't tell you about my divorce. I didn't come back sooner. I'm so sorry. That night, I cried into my pillow until there were no tears left. 2 days later, we held the memorial service at the ranch. I was still reeling from grief, feeling like a ghost of myself. Then, out of nowhere, my ex-husband, Kyle, showed up. How did you even know about this? I asked, confused. A mutual friend told me, he said casually. At first, I thought maybe he was there to pay his respects, but I should have known better. So when are you getting your inheritance? He asked, a smirk creeping onto his face. You owe me for all the time I spent taking care of you. Honestly, I've been waiting for this old man to kick the bucket. This ranch is worthless. Just sell it and get some real money. His words cut through the solemn atmosphere like a knife. I couldn't believe he'd stooped so low. Get out of here, Kyle, I snapped. You have no right to be here. But he ignored me and continued his vile rant. Relax. Just give you what I'm owed, and I'll leave. You're the reason things are always so messy. That's why I divorced you, he said with a sneer. We were in a corner of the room, away from the others, but people were starting to notice us. Then Kyle did something truly despicable. Here's on a contribution to the memorial, he said mockingly. He reached into his pocket and pulled out some coins. So the wicked perish at the presence of me, he shouted, pretending to perform an exorcism as he tossed the coins at my feet. The sound of the coins hitting the floor echoed in the room. Kyle bent down, picked up a single coin, and held it up, a silver dime. I froze. It was the same kind of coin he'd given me when we first met. My tears started falling again, but not out of sadness. This time, it was despair. How did it come to this? Just then, a man in an expensive suit walked up to us. He had an air of authority about him. My deepest condolences for your loss, he said, addressing me with a respectful nod. Kyle's face lit up. He quickly pushed me aside and extended his hand with a wide grin. Ah, Mr. Reed. What a surprise to see you here, Kyle said eagerly. I was just giving my ex-wife some advice. You know how it is. Kyle started talking nonstop, trying to impress the man. But Mr. Reed wasn't interested in him. He glanced at me, then back at Kyle. She's my ex-wife, Kyle said dismissively. Crying won't fix her problems, but she doesn't get that. I was just setting her straight. Kyle laughed, thinking he looked important. But Mr. Reed's expression didn't change. I've decided to cancel the contract with your company, Mr. Reed said calmly. What? Kyle's face went pale. She's a key person in the project, Mr. Reed said, looking directly at Kyle. I would never work with a company that publicly humiliates one of my best employees. Wait, this boring woman is your best employee? Kyle blurted out in disbelief. That must be a mistake. Ignoring Kyle's frantic reaction, Mr. Reed immediately called his boss and told him the contract had been canceled. As soon as he hung up, Kyle's phone rang. His voice was trembling as he begged for forgiveness on the other end. My dad's ranch wasn't huge, but it was known for producing some of the highest quality products in the industry. Even famous pastry chefs praised the taste. It was a pure coincidence that I ended up working where I do. My boss was a huge fan of my dad's milk and butter, and because of that, he trusted my taste, which had been shaped by growing up with top-quality products. My dad never told my ex about the ranch in detail, and I never bragged about it, so Kyle never knew the truth. Looking back, I wondered if maybe my dad had been testing Kyle's character all along. After finishing his call, Kyle turned to me, pale as a ghost. He must have realized that without the project, his career was in jeopardy. Suddenly, he switched his tone, desperately pleading with me. Please talk to him. Tell him to change his mind. I didn't mean to hurt you. Please forgive me. His apology was nothing more than an act of self-preservation, and it pushed me past my limit. You selfish jerk, I snapped. Do you think crying is going to make everything better? Well, how about this? One of the sketches you tore up that day was the basis for this project. Now, you want to sell my lame crepes made with my dad's milk, the same milk you said smelled like poverty. The project Kyle had been working on for his company was based on crepes I created and managed, using cream made from the fresh milk produced by my dad's ranch. When he realized the details, he stammered, "No one told me. Why didn't you mention this to me before?" He snapped at me and kicked over the chairs in frustration. Mr. Reed remained calm, picking up the chairs and setting them back in place. You may not realize it, he said, his voice steady, but there are many people from our industry here. There's no point in resisting anymore. Word of your actions will spread quickly. You don't have a place here anymore. Kyle collapsed to the floor in desperation, begging me, "Please help me. I'm going to lose everything. I'm sorry for what I did. Just please." He clung to me, almost pleading. I smiled sweetly, deliberately letting my tone sound kind. "Well, I owe you something," I said, watching his face light up, thinking he had won. Looking at the man I once thought I loved, I delivered the final blow. "This will be my last payment to you," I said. I took the lucky silver coin he had given me when we first met, held it up to his eye level, and then dropped it to the floor. "You make your own luck. I hope you understand that someday." He froze, unable to speak or move. He was stunned, and I could see the reality hitting him. It was almost poetic. He started crying, his mask falling apart. "Stop it," I snapped, my voice sharp. "Do you still want to keep ruining the memorial? Aren't you embarrassed? You're the weakest person here. Good riddance." There was nothing more he could do. He ran out, his pride shattered. A week after my dad's funeral, Kyle, who had caused the project's failure, faced severe consequences. He was reprimanded by his superiors, and when he was removed from the project, it was discovered that he had embezzled funds. He was fired from his job and charged with criminal offenses. His past actions came back to haunt him, and he ended up living in a small, rundown apartment, facing the consequences of everything he had done. As for my dad's ranch, it was taken over by his loyal staff who respected his values. They continued producing the same high-quality products and began to expand the business little by little. The man who had canceled the project told me he had known my dad for a long time. He'd met with him after I joined the company. "Your daughter is working hard despite her divorce," he had said to my dad. "I want to support her as much as I can." When he mentioned my divorce, my dad had quietly replied, "She's divorcing." I guess my instinct was right. It's painful to know she was being mistreated by that fool, and that even my family was disrespected. Knowing her well, I worried that she pushed herself too hard. I'm ashamed I didn't reach out to her when she was struggling, but I want to watch her rebuild her life and find happiness from here on out. Despite hearing about my divorce, the man seemed oddly relieved. Maybe it's just what I hoped, but I believe my dad knew I would become an amazing patissier. "I know I'm asking a lot, but please take care of my daughter," my dad had said, holding the man's hand tightly, as if to make sure he understood. As I listened to the story, tears filled my eyes. I finally understood how much my dad believed in me, and it made me feel deeply grateful. For so long, I had hated myself for being so miserable, for crying in front of my ex. But now, I felt like I could finally move forward and build a life of my own. I'm sorry, Dad, for not being there with you in your final moments. Life has been tough, but I'm better now. I'm living fully now, learning to be a patissier. I'll use all the wonderful products you worked so hard to protect. Please watch over me from heaven. I love you so much. With a heart full of gratitude for my dad, I promised myself I would work hard to become the kind of patissier he believed I could be.